Welcome, everyone. Today, we're embarking on an exciting journey through time and across oceans to explore the fascinating evolutionary history of lemurs. These charismatic primates, found only on the island of Madagascar, represent one of the most interesting stories in evolutionary biology. Lemurs are more than just cute, wide-eyed creatures that capture our imagination. They're living examples of evolutionary processes in action, showcasing how isolation and adaptation can lead to an incredible diversity of species. From the tiny mouse lemurs to the larger indries, each lemur species tells a unique story of survival and adaptation. In this video, we'll delve into several key areas of lemur evolution research. 1. The origins of lemurs and their journey to Madagascar. 2. The adaptive radiation of lemurs on the island. 3. Key evolutionary adaptations in lemurs. 4. Recent discoveries challenging our understanding of lemur evolution. 5. The impact of human arrival on lemur evolution and diversity. By exploring these topics, we'll gain a deeper understanding of not just lemurs, but also the broader principles of evolution and biogeography. We'll see how the study of lemurs contributes to our knowledge of primate evolution and provides insights into evolutionary processes that apply to many other species. As we discuss these areas, keep in mind that scientific research is an ongoing process. The findings we'll explore represent our current best understanding, but new discoveries are constantly refining and sometimes revolutionizing what we know about lemur evolution. Whether you're a biology student, a wildlife enthusiast, or simply curious about the natural world, this exploration of lemur evolution offers something for everyone. Understanding how lemurs evolved not only satisfies our curiosity about these unique primates but also helps us appreciate the complexity and wonder of evolutionary processes. Throughout this video, we'll encounter some surprising discoveries and thought-provoking ideas. We'll learn how advanced genetic analysis techniques are revealing new insights into lemur evolutionary history. We'll explore how lemurs have adapted to the diverse environments of Madagascar, and how these adaptations have shaped their evolution. And we'll consider how the arrival of humans on Madagascar has influenced lemur evolution in recent millennia. As we go through this information, feel free to pause the video if you want to take notes or reflect on a particular point. Don't hesitate to rewatch sections that you find particularly interesting or challenging. By the end of this video, you'll have a comprehensive overview of current research on lemur evolution. You'll understand why lemurs are so important to scientists studying primate evolution and biodiversity. And hopefully, you'll be inspired to learn more about these fascinating animals and the evolutionary processes that shaped them. Remember, the story of lemur evolution is not just about understanding these particular animals. It's a window into the broader processes of evolution, adaptation, and speciation. By studying lemurs, we gain insights that can be applied to understanding the evolution of many other species, including our own. So, are you ready to dive into the evolutionary world of lemurs? Let's start our journey by going back in time to when the lemur story began, millions of years ago in Africa. We'll trace their incredible journey across the Mozambique Channel to Madagascar, and explore how this isolated island became an evolutionary laboratory for these unique primates. Get ready for a fascinating exploration of lemur evolution. Let's begin. Part 1. The origins of lemurs and their journey to Madagascar. Our story begins around 65 million years ago, during the Paleocene epoch. The world was a very different place then. The dinosaurs had recently gone extinct, and mammals were beginning to diversify and fill the ecological niches left vacant by the giant reptiles. It was during this time that the primate lineage first emerged. Through a combination of fossil evidence and genetic studies, scientists have determined that the earliest primates were small, nocturnal, and likely resembled today's mouse lemurs or bush babies. Around 55 to 60 million years ago, a crucial split occurred in the primate family tree. One branch would go on to become the anthropoids, the group that includes monkeys, apes, and humans. The other branch became the strepsirrhines, which includes lemurs, lorises, and galagos. But here's where the lemur story takes an intriguing turn. While lorises and galagos remained on the African and Asian mainlands, the ancestors of today's lemurs somehow made their way to the island of Madagascar. This journey has long puzzled scientists. Madagascar split from Africa around 160 million years ago, long before lemurs evolved. So how did they get there? The prevailing theory is a process called oceanic dispersal. The idea is that a small population of lemur ancestors, perhaps just a handful of individuals, accidentally rafted across the Mozambique Channel on floating vegetation. This might sound far-fetched, but it's a well-documented phenomenon for many species, especially on islands. Recent research has provided fascinating insights into this journey. Studies of ocean currents and continental drift have shown that around 60 million years ago, both Madagascar and Africa were about 1,650 kilometers south of their current positions. This changed the ocean currents in a way that would have made the crossing easier. Computer models suggest that under these conditions, the journey could have been as short as 30 days. Still a challenging trip, but one that small, resilient primates could potentially survive. Once on Madagascar, lemurs found themselves in an evolutionary paradise. The island had few mammalian competitors and a diverse range of habitats. This set the stage for an extraordinary adaptive radiation, where a single ancestral species gave rise to a wide variety of descendants adapted to different ecological niches. Interestingly, new research is challenging some long-held assumptions about lemur colonization of Madagascar. Some studies now suggest there may have been multiple waves of lemur colonization, with some lineages arriving later than others. For instance, recent genetic studies have suggested that the II, one of the most distinctive lemur species, may have diverged from other lemurs very early, possibly even before the Madagascar colonization. This has led to new hypotheses about the early stages of lemur evolution and dispersal. Another fascinating area of research involves the use of molecular clocks to date lemur evolution. By comparing genetic differences between lemur species and calibrating these differences against known mutation rates, scientists can estimate when different lemur lineages diverged. These molecular studies have generally supported the timeline of lemur evolution derived from fossil evidence. However, they've also revealed some surprises. For example, some studies suggest that the split between lemurs and other strepsirrhines may have occurred earlier than previously thought, perhaps as far back as 70 million years ago. As we consider the journey of lemurs to Madagascar, it's worth noting the role of chance in evolutionary history. If that small population of lemur ancestors hadn't made it to Madagascar, the island's evolutionary history would have been vastly different. This underscores the sometimes contingent nature of evolution. Major evolutionary developments can hinge on improbable events. In our next section, we'll explore what happened after lemurs arrived on Madagascar, their remarkable adaptive radiation that led to the diversity of lemur species we see today. Part 2. The adaptive radiation of lemurs on Madagascar. Once lemurs arrived on Madagascar, they encountered an island with diverse habitats and few competing mammals. This set the stage for one of the most remarkable examples of adaptive radiation in the primate order. Adaptive radiation is an evolutionary process where a single ancestral species gives rise to many descendant species, each adapted to different ecological niches. The lemurs of Madagascar provide a textbook example of this process. Today, there are over 100 known species of lemurs, ranging from the tiny mouse lemurs weighing just 30 grams to the indri, which can weigh up to 9 kilograms. This diversity in size is just one aspect of lemur adaptive radiation. Let's consider how this radiation might have unfolded. The ancestral lemurs that arrived on Madagascar were likely small and nocturnal, similar to today's mouse lemurs. Over millions of years, as lemur populations spread across the island, they encountered a variety of different environments: rainforests, dry forests, spiny forests, and more. In each of these environments, certain traits would have been advantageous. In the dense rainforests of the East Coast, for example, the ability to leap between trees became important. This likely led to the evolution of the indrids, lemurs like the indri and sophakas that are adapted for vertical clinging and leaping. In the dry forests of the West, where food and water are scarcer, the ability to conserve energy became crucial. This may have driven the evolution of torpor and hibernation in some lemur species, like the dwarf lemurs. The spiny forests of the South presented yet another challenge. Here, lemurs evolved to exploit unique food sources. The ii, for instance, developed its distinctive long, thin middle finger to extract grubs from trees, filling a niche similar to that of woodpeckers in other parts of the world. One fascinating aspect of lemur adaptive radiation is the evolution of different activity patterns. While the ancestral lemurs were likely nocturnal, many lemur species evolved to be diurnal, active during the day, or cathemeral, active during both day and night. This diversity in activity patterns allowed lemurs to exploit different temporal niches, reducing competition between species. Lemur dietary adaptations provide another striking example of adaptive radiation. While many lemurs are primarily fruit eaters, others have evolved to specialize on leaves, insects, or even bamboo. The gentle lemurs, for instance, have evolved the ability to detoxify the cyanide compounds found in bamboo, allowing them to exploit a food source that's toxic to most other animals. Recent genetic studies have revealed that lemur adaptive radiation may be even more extensive than we previously thought. Researchers have discovered numerous cryptic species, animals that look very similar but are genetically distinct. This is particularly common among nocturnal lemurs like mouse lemurs, where subtle differences in appearance can hide significant genetic diversity. One intriguing question in the study of lemur evolution is why lemurs were able to diversify so extensively on Madagascar, while other mammal groups on the island did not. Part of the answer likely lies in the timing of lemur arrival. Lemurs were among the first mammals to reach Madagascar, giving them a head start in terms of evolution and adaptation. Another factor may be the primate ancestral toolkit. Primates, in general, are known for their adaptability and relatively large brains. These characteristics may have predisposed lemurs to rapid adaptive radiation once they reached Madagascar. It's also worth noting that lemur adaptive radiation wasn't a smooth, continuous process. The fossil record and genetic studies suggest that there were periods of rapid diversification followed by periods of relative stasis. These bursts of evolution may have been triggered by environmental changes or the opening up of new ecological niches. Interestingly, the adaptive radiation of lemurs mirrors in many ways the adaptive radiation of another famous island-dwelling group, Darwin's finches in the Galapagos. Both showcase how isolation on an island can drive rapid evolution and diversification. As we marvel at the diversity of lemurs produced by this adaptive radiation, it's important to remember that we're seeing only a snapshot in time. Evolution is an ongoing process, and if lemurs weren't facing significant threats from human activities, they would likely continue to evolve and diversify. In our next section, we'll take a closer look at some of the key evolutionary adaptations that emerged during lemur adaptive radiation, exploring how these unique features have shaped lemur biology and behavior. Part 3. Key evolutionary adaptations in lemurs. The adaptive radiation of lemurs on Madagascar led to the evolution of a wide range of unique features. These adaptations not only allowed lemurs to thrive in diverse environments but also make them fascinating subjects for evolutionary study. Let's explore some of these key adaptations. One of the most striking adaptations in lemurs is their diverse locomotor styles. While the ancestral lemur was likely arboreal and quadrupedal, modern lemurs showcase a range of locomotor adaptations. The indrids, for example, evolved powerful hind legs for vertical clinging and leaping. This adaptation allows them to move efficiently through the discontinuous canopy of Madagascar's forests. Sifakas have taken this adaptation even further, developing a unique form of bipedal sideways hopping for ground travel. This unusual gait, sometimes called Sifaka dance, is a beautiful example of how evolutionary pressures can lead to novel solutions. Another fascinating locomotor adaptation is seen in the ii. This unusual lemur has evolved a long, thin middle finger that it uses for percussive foraging, tapping on trees to find hollow areas that might contain insect larvae. This adaptation allowed the II to occupy a niche similar to that of woodpeckers in other parts of the world. Sensory adaptations in lemurs provide another window into their evolutionary history. Many lemur species rely heavily on their sense of smell, using scent marking to communicate. They have a specialized nose structure called a rhinarium, or wet nose, which enhances their olfactory capabilities. Lemurs also have a structure called a tooth comb, formed by their lower incisors and canines. While this is used for grooming in many species, some lemurs have adapted it for feeding. The fork-marked lemur, for instance, uses its tooth comb to gouge holes in trees and stimulate the flow of gum, which it then laps up. Visual adaptations in lemurs are particularly interesting. While the ancestral lemur was likely nocturnal with large eyes adapted for low-light conditions, many lemur species evolved to be diurnal. This shift was accompanied by changes in eye structure and visual processing. However, lemur color vision tells a complex evolutionary story. Most lemurs are dichromats, meaning they have two types of cone cells in their retinas and limited color perception compared to humans. But some lemurs, particularly females of certain species, are trichromats like humans. This variation in color vision within and between species provides a unique opportunity to study the evolution of primate visual systems. Dietary adaptations in lemurs showcase the power of evolution to shape physiology. The gentle lemurs, for example, have evolved specialized digestive systems and detoxification mechanisms that allow them to eat bamboo, a food source that's toxic to most other animals. This adaptation allowed them to exploit a plentiful food source with little competition. Some lemur species have evolved physiological adaptations to cope with Madagascar's seasonal environment. Mouse lemurs and dwarf lemurs, for instance, can enter a state of torpor or even hibernate during the dry season when food is scarce. This is highly unusual for primates and represents a remarkable adaptation to Madagascar's unpredictable climate. Social and behavioral adaptations in lemurs also provide fascinating examples of evolution. Many lemur species exhibit female dominance, which is rare among primates. This is thought to be an adaptation to the harsh and unpredictable environment of Madagascar, where females need priority access to resources to support reproduction. The evolution of lemur communication systems offers another interesting area of study. The Indri, for instance, is known for its haunting, whale-like songs that can be heard for kilometers through the forest. This long-distance communication is an adaptation to life in Madagascar's dense forests, allowing groups to maintain contact over large areas. One of the most intriguing aspects of lemur evolution is the repeated evolution of similar traits in distantly related species, a phenomenon known as convergent evolution. For example, several unrelated lemur species have independently evolved adaptations for eating bamboo. This convergence provides valuable insights into the predictability of evolution under similar selective pressures. As we consider these adaptations, it's important to remember that they evolved over millions of years in response to the unique environments and challenges of Madagascar. Each adaptation represents a solution to a particular evolutionary problem, shaped by natural selection over countless generations. In our next section, we'll explore some recent discoveries that are challenging and refining our understanding of lemur evolution, showcasing how ongoing research continues to provide new insights into these remarkable primates. Part 4. Recent discoveries challenging our understanding of lemur evolution. The field of lemur evolutionary research is dynamic and constantly evolving. Recent years have seen a number of discoveries that have challenged or refined our understanding of lemur evolution. Let's explore some of these exciting developments. One of the most significant recent advances has been in the field of paleontology. For many years, the lemur fossil record was frustratingly sparse, limited mainly to subfossil remains from the last few thousand years. However, recent discoveries have begun to fill in some of the gaps in lemur evolutionary history. In 2018, researchers announced the discovery of two new fossil primate species from Egypt and Kenya, dating back to between 34 and 20 million years ago. While not lemurs themselves, these fossils were identified as close relatives of the aoi, one of the most distinctive and unusual lemurs. This discovery suggested that the split between the II lineage and other lemurs may have occurred in Africa, before the colonization of Madagascar. This finding challenges the long-held view that all lemur diversification occurred after a single colonization event of Madagascar. Instead, it raises the possibility that there may have been multiple waves of lemur colonization, with different lineages arriving at different times. This new perspective is forcing researchers to rethink the timeline and processes of lemur evolution. Another area where recent research is providing new insights is in the field of genomics. Advanced genetic sequencing techniques are allowing researchers to reconstruct lemur evolutionary relationships with unprecedented detail. One surprising finding from these genetic studies is the discovery of hybrid origins for some lemur species. For example, genetic analysis of the red-fronted lemur suggests that it may have originated from hybridization between two other Lemur species. This highlights the complex nature of lemur evolution and the potential role of hybridization in generating new species. Genetic studies have also revealed unexpected levels of diversity within what were thought to be single species. This is particularly true for nocturnal lemurs like mouse lemurs. What was once considered a single species of mouse lemur has now been split into over 20 distinct species based on genetic evidence. This cryptic diversity suggests that lemur evolution and speciation may be ongoing at a much faster rate than previously thought. Another fascinating area of recent research involves the use of ancient DNA techniques. By extracting and analyzing DNA from subfossil lemur remains, researchers are gaining new insights into the genetic diversity of lemur populations just a few thousand years ago, before human arrival led to numerous extinctions. These studies have revealed that many lemur species had much larger populations and greater genetic diversity in the recent past. This information is not only reshaping our understanding of lemur evolution but also has important implications for conservation efforts. Recent ecological studies are also providing new perspectives on lemur evolution. For instance, research on lemur gut microbiomes, the communities of microorganisms living in their digestive tracts, is revealing how these internal ecosystems have co-evolved with their lemur hosts. This work is shedding light on how lemurs have adapted to their diverse diets and habitats. Climate change research is offering new insights into how lemurs might have evolved in response to past climate shifts. By reconstructing past climate conditions on Madagascar and correlating these with the lemur fossil record and genetic data, researchers are beginning to understand how climate change has shaped lemur evolution over millions of years. This work has important implications for predicting how lemurs might respond to current and future climate change. One particularly exciting area of recent research involves the use of comparative genomics. By comparing lemur genomes with those of other primates, researchers are identifying genetic changes that underlie key lemur adaptations. For example, studies have identified genes involved in hibernation in dwarf lemurs, providing new insights into the evolution of this rare primate trait. Advances in brain imaging techniques are allowing researchers to study lemur brain evolution in new ways. These studies are revealing how lemur brains differ from those of other primates, providing clues about the evolution of primate cognition and behavior. Another intriguing line of recent research involves the study of lemur sensory systems. New techniques for analyzing olfactory receptor genes are providing insights into the evolution of smell perception in lemurs, which is crucial for many aspects of their behavior. Lastly, ongoing research into lemur behavior in the wild is continually refining our understanding of lemur social evolution. Long-term field studies are revealing complex social dynamics and cultural traditions in lemur societies, challenging simplistic views of lemur behavior and cognition. All of these discoveries are painting a more complex and nuanced picture of lemur evolution. They highlight the dynamic nature of evolution and the importance of integrating multiple lines of evidence, from fossils and genetics to ecology and behavior, to understand evolutionary processes. As we conclude this section, it's worth noting that many of these research areas are still active and evolving. New discoveries are constantly being made, and our understanding of lemur evolution is likely to continue changing in the coming years. This ongoing process of discovery and revision is a perfect example of how science works, constantly updating our knowledge as new evidence comes to light. In our final section, we'll explore how the arrival of humans on Madagascar has impacted lemur evolution and diversity, bringing the story of lemur evolution up to the present day. Part 5. The impact of human arrival on lemur evolution and diversity. The story of lemur evolution took a dramatic turn with the arrival of humans on Madagascar approximately 2,000 years ago. This relatively recent event has had profound impacts on lemur populations and has effectively become a new, powerful force in lemur evolution. When humans first arrived on Madagascar, the island was home to a much greater diversity of lemur species than we see today. Subfossil evidence indicates the existence of at least 17 species of so-called giant lemurs, some of which were as large as gorillas. These species represented diverse evolutionary experiments, including lemurs adapted for terrestrial locomotion and others specialized for suspensory behaviors similar to sloths. Within a relatively short time after human arrival, all of these giant lemur species went extinct. This mass extinction event fundamentally altered the evolutionary trajectory of lemurs. It eliminated entire branches of the lemur evolutionary tree and dramatically shifted the ecological roles played by lemurs in Madagascar's ecosystems. The causes of these extinctions were likely multifaceted, involving both direct hunting by humans and habitat alteration through practices like slash-and-burn agriculture. Climate change may have also played a role, although the relative contributions of human activity and climate change are still debated among researchers. This extinction event didn't just affect the giant lemurs. Many smaller lemur species also experienced significant population declines and range contractions. This led to reduced genetic diversity in many species, potentially limiting their ability to adapt to future environmental changes. From an evolutionary perspective, these human-induced changes have created new selective pressures on lemur populations. For example, in areas with high hunting pressure, there's evidence that some lemur species have evolved to be more cryptic and wary of humans. This represents a rapid evolutionary response to a new predator, us. Habitat fragmentation due to human activities has also become a major force in lemur evolution. As forests are cut into smaller patches, lemur populations become isolated from one another. This isolation can lead to genetic drift and inbreeding, potentially reducing the adaptive potential of these populations. On the other hand, it can also promote speciation if populations remain isolated for long periods. Climate change, driven largely by human activities, is emerging as another significant factor in contemporary lemur evolution. As Madagascar's climate becomes warmer and drier, lemurs are faced with new environmental challenges. Some species may adapt through shifts in their range, behavior, or physiology. Others may face extinction if they cannot adapt quickly enough. Interestingly, human activities have also created new opportunities for some lemur species. For instance, some lemurs have adapted to live in human-modified landscapes like agricultural areas or even cities. The famous ring-tailed lemurs, for example, have shown remarkable adaptability to human presence and can thrive in some degraded habitats. Conservation efforts are now playing a role in lemur evolution as well. Captive breeding programs, for instance, can influence lemur genetics and behavior. While these programs are crucial for preventing extinctions, they also raise questions about how captive environments might be shaping lemur evolution. Reintroduction programs, where captive-bred lemurs are released into the wild, represent another human-induced evolutionary force. These programs can introduce new genetic variation into wild populations or even re-establish extinct populations. However, they also raise questions about how well captive-bred animals can adapt to wild conditions. One particularly intriguing area of research involves the concept of evolutionary rescue. This is the idea that evolution might allow some lemur species to adapt rapidly enough to survive current environmental changes. Some researchers are investigating whether we might be able to facilitate this process through targeted conservation interventions. It's important to note that while humans have had many negative impacts on lemur evolution, traditional Malagasy cultural beliefs have also played a role in protecting some lemur species. Many Malagasy communities have taboos against hunting certain lemur species, effectively creating cultural barriers to exploitation. These traditions have likely influenced lemur evolution by providing refuges for some species. As we look to the future, it's clear that humans will continue to be a major force in lemur evolution. The choices we make about habitat protection, climate change mitigation, and conservation strategies will shape the evolutionary trajectories of lemur species for generations to come. In conclusion, the arrival of humans on Madagascar marks a new chapter in lemur evolution, one where natural selection is increasingly influenced by human activities. Understanding this human-lemur evolutionary dynamic is crucial not only for protecting these unique primates but also for gaining insights into how evolution operates in the Anthropocene, our current human-dominated geological epoch. As we conclude our exploration of lemur evolution, let's reflect on some key takeaways and consider their broader implications for our understanding of evolution and biodiversity. First, the story of lemur evolution provides a remarkable example of how geographical isolation can drive evolutionary processes. The journey of lemur ancestors to Madagascar set the stage for an extraordinary adaptive radiation, showcasing how a single lineage can diversify to fill a wide range of ecological niches. This principle of island biogeography applies not just to lemurs, but to many other island ecosystems around the world. Second, lemur evolution illustrates the power of adaptation in shaping organisms. From the specialized long finger of the eye to the energy-conserving hibernation of dwarf lemurs, we see how evolutionary processes can produce highly specialized traits in response to environmental pressures. This reminds us of the incredible plasticity of life and its ability to find solutions to ecological challenges. Third, the study of lemur evolution highlights the importance of integrating multiple lines of evidence in evolutionary research. From fossil records and genetic studies to behavioral observations and ecological research, each approach provides unique insights. Together, they allow us to construct a more complete picture of evolutionary processes. Fourth, recent discoveries in lemur evolution underscore the dynamic nature of scientific knowledge. New findings, such as evidence for multiple lemur colonization events or the discovery of cryptic species, show how ongoing research can challenge and refine our understanding of evolutionary history. This exemplifies the self-correcting nature of science and the importance of remaining open to new evidence. Fifth, the impact of human arrival on lemur evolution serves as a stark reminder of our species' profound influence on evolutionary processes. The rapid extinction of giant lemurs and the ongoing pressures on extant species illustrate how human activities can dramatically alter evolutionary trajectories. This has implications for how we think about conservation, suggesting that we need to consider not just species preservation, but also the protection of evolutionary processes. Sixth, lemur research contributes significantly to our understanding of primate evolution more broadly. As our closest living relatives that evolved in isolation from other primates, lemurs provide unique insights into the evolution of primate traits like intelligence, social behavior, and sensory systems. Seventh, the story of lemurs emphasizes the value of unique evolutionary heritage. Each lemur species represents millions of years of evolution, and their loss would be irreplaceable. This underscores the importance of conservation efforts that aim to protect not just individual species, but entire evolutionary lineages. Eighth, lemur evolution showcases the interplay between ecology and evolution. The diverse habitats of Madagascar have shaped lemur evolution, while lemurs in turn have influenced the ecology of their environments. This reciprocal relationship between organisms and their environments is a fundamental principle of evolutionary ecology. Ninth, the study of lemur evolution provides insights into evolutionary processes that can be applied to understanding the evolution of many other species, including our own. Concepts like adaptive radiation, convergent evolution, and the impact of isolation are all exemplified in lemur evolution and have broad applicability in evolutionary biology. Lastly, the ongoing evolution of lemurs in the face of human-induced environmental changes provides a real-time laboratory for studying evolution in the Anthropocene. How species adapt, or fail to adapt, to rapid environmental changes is a critical question in contemporary evolutionary biology, and lemurs are on the front lines of this evolutionary challenge. As we consider these takeaways, it becomes clear that the study of lemur evolution is about much more than just understanding these particular primates. It's a window into the broader processes of evolution, adaptation, and speciation. It informs our understanding of biodiversity and its conservation, and it provides insights into our own evolutionary history as primates. Moreover, the story of lemur evolution reminds us of the wonder and complexity of life on Earth. It showcases the power of evolution to produce an incredible diversity of forms and behaviors. And it highlights the unique evolutionary heritage represented by Madagascar's fauna, underscoring the importance of protecting this biodiversity hotspot. In conclusion, lemur evolution offers a fascinating case study in evolutionary biology, one that continues to yield new insights and challenge our understanding. As research continues, we can expect to gain even deeper insights into these remarkable primates and the evolutionary processes that shaped them. As we come to the end of our journey through the evolutionary history of lemurs, I hope you've gained a new appreciation for these remarkable primates and the complex processes that shaped their diversity. From their ancient origins in Africa to their current status as one of the most diverse and threatened primate groups, lemurs offer a fascinating window into evolutionary processes. But the story of lemur evolution is far from over. New discoveries are being made all the time, challenging our understanding and opening up new avenues of research. At the same time, many lemur species face an uncertain future, threatened by habitat loss, climate change, and other human activities. So, what can we do? How can we, as individuals, contribute to the conservation of lemurs and support the ongoing study of their evolution? First and foremost, stay informed. The more we know about lemurs and the challenges they face, the better equipped we are to help. Follow reputable scientific sources and conservation organizations that report on lemur research and conservation efforts. Consider supporting organizations that work on lemur conservation and research. Many NGOs are doing important work in Madagascar, combining scientific research with community-based conservation approaches. Your support, whether financial or through volunteering, can make a real difference. If you have the opportunity to visit Madagascar, consider engaging in responsible ecotourism. When done right, ecotourism can provide economic incentives for conservation and support both research and local communities. Spread the word about lemur evolution and conservation. Share what you've learned with friends and family. Use social media to raise awareness about the importance of protecting not just lemurs, but the evolutionary processes that gave rise to their diversity. Remember that the challenges facing lemurs are not unique to Madagascar. Many of the issues we've discussed, habitat loss, climate change, the need for sustainable development, are global challenges. By taking action in your own community to support conservation and sustainable practices, you're indirectly helping lemurs and biodiversity worldwide. For those of you in academic fields, consider how you might incorporate lemur research into your studies. Whether you're in biology, anthropology, environmental science, or another field, there are likely connections to be made with lemur evolution and conservation. Lastly, never underestimate the power of curiosity and lifelong learning. The researchers studying lemur evolution are driven by a deep curiosity about the natural world. By nurturing that same curiosity in ourselves and others, we can foster a greater appreciation for biodiversity and the need to protect it. As we close, I want to thank you for joining me on this journey through the evolutionary history of lemurs. I hope you found it as fascinating as I have. Remember, every new thing we learn about lemur evolution adds to our understanding and appreciation of the incredible diversity of life on Earth. So, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep asking questions. And who knows, maybe someday you'll be the one making the next big discovery in lemur evolution research. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay curious.